The emotional roller coaster of a delivery shift doesn't happen over months. It happens in a few hours. One minute you're convinced this was a good idea, and the next you're questioning why you're even out here. And if you've ever delivered food, you know exactly what I'm talking about, because a single shift can feel like an entire week compressed into an afternoon. You start the day optimistic. Maybe you've got your drink beside you. Maybe you've got a podcast playing. Maybe you've already pictured how productive this shift is going to be. And you log into the app. You wait. Nothing. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15. Still nothing. And at first it's fine. You tell yourself, the orders are coming. You check your phone, adjust your seat, look around the parking lot. But as the minutes keep passing, something starts happening. The doubts start to arrive. Was this a bad time to come out? Did I pick the wrong area? Should I have stayed home? It's strange how quickly silence can affect your mood. Nothing has actually gone wrong, but somehow it feels like it has. You came out here to work, and work isn't showing up. So you sit there watching the restaurants, watching cars, watching other drivers pull in and leave, wondering if they're getting orders you're not. Finally, the phone lights up. It's an order. Nothing special, nothing amazing, just a normal, regular order. And suddenly everything changes because relief shows up before the food even does. You accept it immediately. You head toward the restaurant, and just like that, the shift feels alive again. The doubt disappears. The waiting is over. You're moving. You're doing something. You have a destination, a purpose. You have a task. And it's amazing how much better the day feels once momentum starts. You pick up the food, and you drop it off. You complete the order. And now you're back in the game. Then something unexpected happens. The next order comes quickly. Maybe the payout is better. Maybe the distance is shorter. Maybe the customer leaves a decent tip. Whatever it is. Your mood rises fast. And now you're doing math in your head. Maybe today will actually be good. Maybe the shift is turning around. Maybe you judged it too early. That's one of the strange things about delivery work. The emotional swings can be huge, and they're often caused by things that seem small from the outside. One order, one tip, one good customer interaction. That's all it takes to completely change your outlook. And for a while, everything feels smooth. You're getting orders, you're moving, you're productive. The hours pass faster, the frustration is gone, and then it happens again. Silence. Another gap. This time longer. You drive through a hot spot, nothing. You park somewhere else, nothing. You refresh your screen, even though you know it won't help, and still nothing. And slowly that familiar feeling starts creeping back in. The frustration. Not because you're working hard, but because you're ready to work and you can't. And that's a very specific kind of frustration. One that people outside gig work don't always understand. You're technically working, but you're also waiting. You're available, but you're not active. You're busy, but somehow doing nothing. And mentally, that can be exhausting. The longer the gap goes on, the heavier everything feels. Now you're replaying decisions again. Should I move? Should I stay? Should I end the shift? Should I keep waiting? Every delivery driver has had moments like this. Moments where the uncertainty becomes the hardest part. Not the driving, not the stairs, not the traffic, but the uncertainty, because you never really know what's coming next. And then out of nowhere, the phone lights up again. A random order. Maybe one you almost declined. Maybe one that didn't look special at first. But somehow it ends up being exactly what you needed. A short trip, a generous tip, a smooth pickup, an easy customer. Nothing life-changing, just enough to reset your mindset. And suddenly the shift feels different again. Not because your entire situation changed, but because your perspective did. That's the emotional rhythm of delivery work. High, low, high, low, over and over in a single day, sometimes in a single hour. And after a while, you start realizing something. The job isn't just testing your patience, it's testing your emotions. Can you stay calm during slow periods? Can you avoid getting too excited during good stretches? Can you keep showing up even when the day isn't going the way you hoped? Because delivery work has a way of teaching emotional balance. Not perfectly and not instantly, but eventually you learn that bad hours don't always become bad days. You learn that slow starts don't predict the ending. You learn that one good order can completely change the mood of a shift. And maybe that's why so many drivers relate to each other. Because even though every market is different, every route is different, every customer is different, every restaurant is different, the emotional experience is surprisingly similar. We've all felt the waiting. We've all felt the relief. We've all felt the frustration. And we've all felt that strange sense of optimism that returns after one good order. Sometimes the hardest part of the job isn't the delivery itself. It's the emotional roller coaster happening inside the car. And if you've done this long enough, you know exactly what that ride feels like.